Property management in 2022. Talk to me.
Phenomenal question. We're very much at the start of adoption of modern technology in property management. So the property management systems have been out there for 40 to 50 years, but actually true connectivity through smart devices has only just started. And that's basically, that means people using smartphones and tablets to get stuff done. It means they're not chained to their desk. That's phase one. Phase two is Internet of Things. So I don't know if you've seen, for example, the pH tester in milk. So you can have a milk bottle with a sensor in it, and it tells you before it goes off and puts another on the milk in your order in Tesco. So that's just one example. We're starting to work with smart sensors in commercial property so that before something goes wrong, let's say, for example, the boiler's starting to cool down, or there's humidity or moisture coming through, which is indicative of a leak, that can come straight into the Fixflo system for commercial property and be allocated out to the right contractor. So buildings are getting smarter, buildings themselves are changing, and through that the nature of property management will change.
It sounds awfully Star Trek, or is that technology here already?
That technology is here already. There's a phenomenal company. Can I give a shout out to them?
Yeah, shout them out. Shout them out. Tell the people at home.
It's a company called Disruptive Technology. So there are two problems with smart sensors. The first is battery life. So typically these things used to have a very short battery life. Now, Disruptive Technologies have built something that's the size of a postage stamp, with a 15-year battery life.
Gee, I wish they put them in mobile phones.
And they're also solving the connectivity thing. So you need access to some form of network to be able to transfer the ons and offs, the ones and the zeros. And so they are doing a phenomenal job. In fact, I came across the first person I've ever met who's got a chip implanted in their hand to open doors and pay for things in this canteen. It's quite extreme. So he's a technologist from Sweden, but the world is moving very quickly towards...
That sounds very scary, mate, but upon saying that though, 10 years ago we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have Amazon, we didn't have, swipe right for love with Tinder.
Oh, you didn't have a phone where it would recognise your face to open it.
True. So, these things sound really weird now, but I think, if you roll the plot back 10 years, I don't think it is that scary, is it?
It is, I think, on an objective level, terrifying the amount of data that's being created.
So what you do with that data, though,
the insights that can be drawn from multiple data.
Okay, so what does this look like for Bob and Sally, the letting agent on the high street in Dagenham?
For Bob and Sally, I think it means absolutely nothing for about 2 to 3 years. But over a period of time, within 5 years, they will increasingly have locks on their homes that are smart locks, so they won't have keys.
Of course, you have this thing like Hive, don't you, where you can control your central heating and your lights.
And so front doors will be smartphone enabled or Bluetooth enabled or something enabled. You see Amazon have just entered that sector with videos, so you can see who's outside your house and let them in for a short period of time. It's going to take a while for people to get used to that as an idea. But I guess previously you wouldn't have thought about putting your entire social network online.
You wouldn't, would you? Put your life on Facebook?
Well, the power of a lot of professional service providers was their little black book, and now their little black book is out there for everybody to see. The world moves very, very quickly. Then from smart locks to smart boilers.
Okay, so coming back to Sally, what do you think this is actually going to mean for lettings for Bob and Sally in Dagenham?
What, in 5 years' time?
Yeah.
It means that they will be an entry level. So access to portals is now a requirement to act in an agency capacity.
True, because if you'd have said 15 years ago, Rightmove would have taken over the world, we'd all laugh, wouldn't we?
It's now one of the first questions, if not the first question, that a prospective landlord or vendor asks is, how are you going to advertise? And the answer is typically a portal and multiple portals.
So coming back to this disruptive technology, what's that going to mean for letting agents?
What it means is that they will need a platform within their control, which means either one they rent, one they build, or one they buy, which is able to take the inputs from multiple sensors to allow them to effectively manage the building.
And is that something you're building at the moment for the future?
So it exists now for Fixflo customers, but we've started in the commercial property market where there is greater adoption. So I think that adoption of Internet of Things is going to trickle down from commercial through block management and build to rent into residential lettings.
Do you think it will make people's life easier?
That's a really, really interesting question. So I'm not sure. So if you look at all the technological innovations that have come out, so instead of spending half a day doing laundry, you can just whack something in the washing machine.
Yes.
Instead of spending 30 minutes doing the washing up, you can just stick it in a dishwasher. It doesn't feel like people have that much more time.
Well, we all spend an hour and a half on Facebook.
That may be it. That may be it. But in terms of the available time, the sort of the time that
It doesn't feel like we have enough. I don't know about you, but it feels like I have less time available to myself, or is that just my perception?
I think it's a widespread perception, if it is a perception, but actually, with all these technological evolutions or changes, there should be more time available, but stuff gets in the way.
I mean, who'd have thought, 10 years ago, you'd have said, right, there's this device that you can pull out your pocket and look at pictures of people's dinners, and
I was wondering where you were going with that. Thank you for pulling it back.
But it's amazing, isn't it? It is absolutely amazing how people think and act and use these devices in their hands, and they are a God-given awesomeness in terms of what they enable us to do, but they are a huge distraction tool as well, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're designed to be that way. So they're gamified from the inside out. So every time you get a little ping.
Right.
Did you get the Twitch? I get a Twitch.
Of course you do.
Have a look.
Of course you do. I tell you, a big tip for anyone out there is if you want to save some time, is switch your notifications off. In fact, I've switched Facebook off my mobile phone, and you'll be amazed how much time you save.
Or doing emails at specific times during the day, for example. The difficulty with that is inbound telephone calls, because they come when they come. And you can't really prioritise.
But if you've got Fixflo, you're not going to have all the telephone calls from tenants moaning, are you?
Yeah, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
That's good for you there. Good. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Awesome, thank you.
Lovely.